All right, another garage bench press workout. Goal today is to work on the pressing part of the bench press. More specifically, the first part, getting out of the hole. I've been struggling at higher weights to get out of the hole, so I want to make that a more of a strength instead of a liability. And we'll see what we can do to improve upon that in the next few weeks. All right, so up to 135, and this is where I'll start to use the exercise that I know to work best for, my starting strength on the bench press after it touches my chest, which is just pausing, pause benching. I even throw in a variation of the pause bench where I go up a quarter of the way, then I go back down, and then I go back up. I don't know what that's called. I've never seen anybody do it in my life. It's just something that I'm trying, and I'll be trying over the next few weeks. So I think here's an example. Up a quarter of the way, and then again up a quarter of the way, and then all the way back up. So moving up to 205. I really like 205 pounds for these pause rep exercises. I think it's heavy enough to challenge me and then light enough for me really to exaggerate the concentration of the form. One of the things I noticed during this workout is I need to train my biceps more often. With reverse curls and regular curls, I felt some strain in both of my biceps. And for people with longer arms, you'll notice that your biceps are recruited more for bench press than someone with short arms or a very thick frame, because it's all triceps and chest for them. If you have really long arms, you go down so far that it recruits your bicep. All right, next 245. Much like 205, this is still a weight where I can get some decent work in. It's getting a little too heavy, but I could still do like the quarter reps at 245, which is nice. And the quarter reps, just so you know, I just came up with that based off of just knowing my own body and just trying things. I try a lot with bench press, and I recommend that you do the same. Just try different things and see what works for you. And more on that, I think just understanding your body is so much so much of the equation when it comes into progressing in fitness. No matter what kind of fitness regimen you're doing, you've got to understand your body and what works for you. I really think that far too many people put an emphasis on searching for fitness, not so much inspiration, but advice from others, instead of really concentrating on what works for them. Especially with an exercise like bench press, it's going to be heavily conditioned upon the fact of whether or not your physiological makeup is kind of geared for the bench press or not. And that kind of breaks down to, do you have a wide barrel chest? Do you have short arms? Do you have long arms? Et cetera, et cetera. So in between that, there's a lot of nuances that are subtle that you should be working with and trying to figure out. But back to the pause benching, and it's, kind of more to that point. I'm hitting 245 here. I'm just trying to figure out over the next few weeks what variations and methods of pause bench do I need to use to be able to get out of that hole at higher weights. What will help me? And I'll do this until I figure out what works for me. I think that's what it comes down to. It's I'll do 2.5, 3 weeks of pause benching. I'll give myself a deload week or two. Then I'll come back, and if I'm not hitting the weight that I want to hit with enough explosiveness out of the hole, I'll know that I need to add some variation to my workout, whether that's board pressing or floor presses or whatever it is that I try to figure out. But that's just understanding your body, because for some people, the pause bench exercise might be enough. For others, it may not. So that's just kind of what I mean, is just figure out what works for you, try it, test it, and then go back to the drawing board. And like I'd mentioned in the beginning of the video, I wanted to add some biceps in. for this workout. So I did just basically a couple sets, curling some 25s, nothing crazy at all. But I will have to up the biceps, especially the reverse grip curls, because I'm noticing that there's more recruitment for up the bicep on my bench press than I anticipated would be at these higher weights. So I gotta do something about that. And that concludes the workout, guys. Until next time.